Welcome to State of the Offense, your preseason coverage of your favorite team's offense, the Buffalo Bills. In the skill positions, the Bills added Damian Harris and Latavius Murray at running back. In the draft, the Bills added Dalton Kincaid in the first round. Most fantasy football shows will only mention skill players, but at State of the Offense, we look at the entire offensive line as well. On the offensive line, the Bills will bring back 4 of their starters from last year. In the second round of the draft, the Bills selected guard O'Cyrus Torrence from Florida. Dion Dawkins returns for his 7th season in Buffalo at left tackle. Dawkins played 16 games with an 88.2% snap share. He graded at an 83, which was the Bills' best offensive line rating and good for the number 12 left tackle in the game. Free agent signee Connor McGovern is currently listed at the top of the depth chart at left guard. McGovern spent 4 seasons in Dallas. In Dallas, he played 15 games. He had a 76.9% snap share, and he graded at a 71. His 71 grade places him in the 19 to 20 range of projected starting left guards in the league. Mitch Morse returns for his 5th season with the Bills at center. Morse graded at a 77, which was the Bills' second best mark overall. He rates as the number 13 center in the NFL. Morse played in 13 games and he had a 70.7% snap share. Ryan Bates returns for his 5th season in town. In 2022, he graded at a 73 with an 87.3% snap share in 15 games. He is currently listed as the starting right guard. His 73 rating places him in the 23 to 24 range of projected starting right guards. The Bills used the number 59 pick in the draft on former Florida guard O'Cyrus Torrence. Torrence played right guard in college. If he is ready to start from day one, I could see the starting left guard either being Bates or McGovern. Spencer Brown is entering his 3rd season as a Bill at right tackle. Brown graded at a 71 in 14 games played. He had a 76.9% snap share. His 71 rating places him in a group of right tackles in the 20 to 23 range overall in the league. The Bills have everyone in their top 6 offensive linemen signed through at least 2024. The Bills made guard a priority to replace Roger Saffold. They used a 2nd round pick and signed an unrestricted free agent at the guard position. The Bills' offensive line had some issues last year with 4 starters missing at least 1 game. Better health and some new blood may make the Bills' offense as a whole even better than before. Quarterback Josh Allen means as much to the Buffalo Bills franchise as any player can in the game. In fantasy football, he is an elite quarterback because of his rushing ability. He was the quarterback 2 last season, and he is the quarterback 2 in average draft position. His overall draft spot is 22, which puts him in the late 2nd round. I actually believe that 22 may be too low for Allen. I personally rank Allen as my number 13 overall player, so I'm comfortable drafting Josh Allen with any 2nd round pick. Stefon Diggs has been an elite wide receiver since his arrival in Buffalo in 2020. He has targeted nearly 10 passes every game, and he should not have anyone taking targets away from him this season either. Diggs was the wide receiver 4 in total points and the wide receiver 5 in points per game. He is currently the wide receiver 5 in draft position. His overall draft position is player 12 at the end of the 1st round. There has been some news about Stefon Diggs being dissatisfied with his usage from last year, but if you feel more comfortable with Diggs than some of the other elite wide receivers, I tend to agree with you. Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford missed significant time last year for the Rams, so I'm not as high on the Rams situation as I am the Bills. Tyreek Hill is tied to Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy, which was a problem last year. Davante Adams got a quarterback downgrade with Jimmy Garoppolo. If you think that the Josh Allen, Stefon Diggs quarterback wide receiver situation is better than the other top wide receivers situations with their quarterbacks, you can probably justify Stefon Diggs ahead of these guys. I currently rank Diggs as the number 14 overall player, which is slightly below his ADP. Gabe Davis is back across from Diggs as a very reliable deep threat. Davis averaged 17.4 yards per catch. Davis was the wide receiver 34 in total points and the wide receiver 36 in points per game. Not too bad, but Davis is wildly inconsistent. The Pittsburgh and Minnesota games accounted for 37.5% of his fantasy points for the year. Davis is currently the wide receiver 42 in drafts, player 102 overall, which puts him in the 9th round. If you play in a best ball format, Davis is a better fit. Davis is my 101st player overall, so his ADP is good where it is. Khalil Shakir moves up the depth chart to the wide receiver 3 position on the Bills roster. He may be able to emerge if Josh Allen has some big early games. The biggest obstacle for Shakir for targets may come from the tight end position. Dawson Knox is a solid, reliable tight end for the Bills. He was the tight end 14 in total points and tight end 15 in points per game. He has been a great bye week filler for your number 1 tight end traditionally. From this point forward, I believe that Knox's consistent production may be in severe jeopardy with the Bills using the number 24 pick in the draft on Utah's Dalton Kincaid. This was a strong tight end class, and Kincaid ended up being the first tight end drafted this year. Rookie tight ends usually don't produce much, but there has been talk of the Bills putting Kincaid in the slot, which may end up taking Isaiah McKenzie's production from last year and nullifying Khalil Shakir. Dawson Knox is also nursing a lower leg injury right now in training camp. The Bills may run a lot of 2 tight end sets now, but I don't believe that the Bills will support 2 tight ends in fantasy. I would stay away during the draft and probably wait until week 1 waiver claims before I would go for either player. If Knox stays injured and Dalton Kincaid emerges in camp, Kincaid has league-winning talent. James Cook is the running back 1 on the Buffalo depth chart, with Devin Singletary moving on to Houston. The Bills did sign Damian Harris from the Patriots in free agency. Harris peaked in his 3rd season with 929 yards and 15 touchdowns. He was surpassed by Ramondre Stevenson in 2022, and he only played in 11 games. He can replace Singletary's production. Devin Singletary outcarried James Cook 177 to 89 and out-targeted Cook 52 to 32. How much does James Cook's role increase in year 2? He is a smaller back, so he may not get Singletary's usage. I also believe that Harris will get more carries in 2023 than what Cook had in 2022. There is a strong possibility that the Bills use a different back in their game plans in different ways from week to week. This makes me nervous as a fantasy player about the Buffalo backfield. Cook is currently the running back 30 drafted, pick 83 overall, which makes him a late 7th rounder. I have Cook rated as my 100 player overall. Damian Harris is the running back 39 at pick 120, which makes him a late 10th rounder. I rate Harris as my 137th overall player. You probably can avoid the Buffalo running backs in your drafts. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are obvious fantasy football stars. They will both be drafted by the 2nd round. Quarterbacks are often undervalued in fantasy football, but you usually need a top 6 quarterback to win your league. Drafting Josh Allen gives you a high percentage chance of achieving a top 6 quarterback finish. Diggs has one of the best wide receiver situations in the NFL, and he is a pretty safe pick. Gabe Davis is explosive but inconsistent. Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid may cancel each other out for tight end production. James Cook is probably getting drafted too high. The Bills were many people's Super Bowl favorite last year. There is no reason to think that a year later that they can't make it up this year. If the Bills improve in a few areas like running back and in the receiving core, they can exceed their recent results and make it to the Super Bowl. If you like today's coverage of the Buffalo Bills offense, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.